Securing the zone.
Well, if I was gonna do a verdict on the game I just played and technically sunset it, I might as well use one of their kind of like top games before, they kind of went to shit. Well, anyway, this is not a walkthrough. This is not a playthrough. This is well, the XDefiant. I'm trying to say XDefiant verdict video. Alright, so if you really want to be acclimated and kind of want to know how I do my verdict videos, watch, I guess, my Chia verdict video. Or you can watch one of my recent verdict videos and you'll understand the flow. But if for any new subscriber, or, well, any future new subscriber, or new viewer, or returning viewer, or subscriber, well, pretty much I have a part 1. Give it a score out of 10. I like to do it in increments, like 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10. No point, like 2 point, what I used to do like before, like back in the day. No, I just try to make it a single score. Part 2, talk about the negative and why the game is not flawless. Especially if it's a 10 out of 10, I do try to find a negative. I try to find one negative that just bugs the shit out of me. But that's the negative. And then part 3, the positive. Positive is pretty simple. It's straight to the point, and I tell you what is the positive. Then part 4 is my conclusion, or my concluding thoughts. Along with this, of course, if I do it this way compared to, let's just say, Nintendo Day or Xbox Day, I basically put some compilation along with my verdict video. But like I said, watch my Chia verdict video or recent verdict videos, and that kind of sums it up. And the reason why I'm using Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection, because, it's Ezio Auditore, or Ezio Auditore da Firenze. He's pretty badass, and he's a freaking amazing character of Ubisoft, one of their greatest characters. But also, like I was trying to say, XDefiant literally crashed on me just twice when I was just trying to make the video. And since it was crashing on me like twice already, even though the game is sunsetted, even though no one really gives a shit anymore, I would have showed you. I would have showed you already the game not working. But you guys can also check out other videos too, and you'll absolutely see that it's been sunsetted. And it's completely okay. I mean, it wasn't a financial kind of like milestone, or it wasn't a financial success that Ubisoft was expecting us to kind of just light up their wallets and just be successful. It was trying to be a Call of Duty clone, but I guess I'll save that for a negative. Alright, well, of course, you can leave that like, comment, or subscribe. Do you guys miss XDefiant, or you really do not give a shit? Okay, cool. Well, we'll make this like 15 minutes, and let's get started. Okay, cool. Alright, so, in terms of the negative, I don't have any like compilation videos. It's mostly the positive, but hey, this is going to be straight to the point, and, well, yeah. Alright, so the negative of XDefiant. Come on, guys, let's face it. It is generic. Oh, right. I'm speed running my verdict videos. My bad. Alright, well, that's part 1. I really thought about, like, what I wanted to give the score. I was immediately going to give it, like, maybe a 5. Just because I was like, I've seen this before, and I don't like what Ubisoft is doing with it, but I played a good chunk of it. I would say up to 10 hours, up to 11 hours. I know I fell off after 3 videos, and that's completely understandable. It just did not click with me. But in terms of the score, just in general, just to be kind of generous, I want to give it a 7 out of 10. I know what I liked about it, but it wasn't like an 8 out of 10, it wasn't a 9 out of 10. I wanted to give it a 6 out of 10, but after I kind of got acclimated with the game and actually gotten used to the game, I was actually starting to like it for certain aspects. But in terms of the negative, 7 out of 10. I'll be gracious and be a 7 out of 10. It actually got me invested that I actually wanted to see the end of the matches, and I was having fun. It's like sporadic moments. But anyway, let's get to the negative, right? That's what you're here for, a verdict video, and get straight to the point. Alright, so negative. Like I was trying to say, we said it before. it's not the fact that it was trying to be original. It's just the fact that we have seen it before. So what I mean by saying it before, just to clarify, it okay. So it was a live service game. Live service game. You get to the match. It's pretty much capture the flag that you've seen in Call of Duty and every live service game at this point. So you've seen it. You've seen it before. Along with that, team deathmatch and also capture the zone, which is basically capture the flag, and also kind of like capture that or escort missions. Not that type of escort missions, but escort missions. So we've seen this in other live service games before that are done done significantly better compared to XDefiant. It's just the fact that in terms of the game modes, the menu, the gun customization, to the character factions or the factions from. I appreciate the factions from previous Ubisoft games. You know, sequels will never be getting any bloody time soon. But yeah, we've seen it before because other live service games have done these type of game modes, but in a unique fresh spin. XDefiant absolutely didn't do anything that broke the mold, like I was talking about in previous videos. And before I started the match, I was like, okay, XDefiant, what do you offer? The same bloody thing as any other live service game. So yeah, it's a significant amount that, of course, I'm going to knock points off. If it did something uniquely fresh, if it did something like really cool, it was just basically crossovers or past Ubisoft games in character classes, but they're nothing special. There's no like Sledgehammer, there's no Apex Legends like here or Legends, there's no like Marvel Rivals actual superheroes. They just did not do anything with the concept they had. I get the concept of what they're doing. It just wasn't great. It just wasn't unique. It wasn't fresh. It was just different character factions from other franchises. And there's nothing groundbreaking about it. It's nothing innovative. So that's what I mean. If I wasn't clear enough, that's what I mean. Alright, so the next negative. Okay, so guys, let's face it. It's Call of Duty. XDefiant is Ubisoft's Call of Duty. There. It's been said. I think everyone has done verdict videos about it too, even before the server or the game fully shut down. It's not available to even download anymore. Trust me, I have checked. But yeah, it's just the fact that it's taken the formula from Call of Duty. I like that it is taking Ubisoft. Hey, okay, cool. Copy and paste Call of Duty. Cool. But we've seen it before, and it didn't do anything unique about it. You can't go prone. For some reason, you can't go pro. I was just saying, if you're going to copy and paste Call of Duty, you might as well do the prone mode. They didn't do that. They didn't do prone. You only crouch. But we've seen it. We've seen pretty much like the grenade, just like throwing the grenade, aiming, shooting, just reloading, fast reload, after you grind all the time in this live service. Okay, cool. That's completely cool. But we haven't seen, we've seen it before, but it's the same Call of Duty that I'm sorry, but it's cool of what they did, but it just didn't really do anything different from Call of Duty. It was Call of Duty. And every time I played it, I was like, this is Call of Duty. If I want to play Call of Duty, I'll just play Call of Duty games. That's not a good sign. That's nothing original. They had potential too. I mean, it was a fun game to play. They had potential. They just decided to waste it on being a Call of Duty clone. And that's never a good sign, Ubisoft. You have the budget, so you could have done something different. Which, ironically, you have a game that you are doing something called different. It's called Rainbow Six Siege. So, I don't know. I guess this was supposed to be the next big thing, but Rainbow Six Siege is kind of dominating. It just still doesn't make sense to me. Alright, well, we're done with the negatives, so that was part 2. And I already covered part 1. I gave it a 7 out of 10, so, well, as I shake my hands again, let's talk about the positive. Alright, so despite what I said about the negative, alright, let's talk about the positive. It's a double-edged sword, even though the gameplay is basically Call of Duty. It's Call of Duty, let's freaking face it. The gameplay was actually snappy and fun. Now, Roll the clips.
Team capturing zone C. Capture zone contested. Capture zone secured.
Rack up those bounties while they're worth extra.
Allies on B. Allies losing A.
Alright, see what I mean? No matter what I say in terms of the negative, I mean, it's kind of a caveat, but it's kind of a double-edged sword. That's the way I want to describe it. The gameplay was fun, and it did make for some intense, or really snappy, really fast gameplay. I mean, from the respawn to just kind of sprinting, I do appreciate compared to Call of Duty and some specific games, the sprint was unlimited. I didn't feel like my character was slow. In fact, it was snappy because of the sprint. I was sprinting and shooting at the same time. Even though other games have done it superbly, it was kind of refreshing to just kind of sprint and gun at the same time. And it was just kind of gratifying to get them in sprint and gun. No matter what weapons you're using, no matter where you're at, no matter where you're jumping, it just feels pretty snappy and reactive and kind of actually fun. I had some pretty iconic matches. Alright, we'll move on to the next positive. Another one that I was actually surprised. It wasn't fun. The map variety was lackluster when I first started XDefiant, in terms of the beta. That's understandable. It was like the beta or season 0. Now, as I came back to XDefiant, when it was about to shut down, yeah, the map variety got much better. I mean, it's great to see callbacks to the Division, Far Cry series, or just even the Rainbow Six Siege and other games that Ubisoft clearly has the budget to give them sequels. They just won't do it. But it's cool to see the map variety. I just felt like it was really spaced out, and I always felt like there was so many stealth options or so many ways I could ambush enemies in the coolest way. In the most intricate way, I will pretty much let you know. So, and also, like I said, if Ubisoft has been around for a good long freaking while, so the fact that they could actually bring maps from their old franchises, even though we're not getting a sequel for it, it was cool to see that blast from the past for some of them, and they were diverse. So roll the next clips is what I mean.
Juan here. I enjoy long walks on the beach and toppling authoritarian regimes. Vámonos!
That's what I mean. Seeing Rayman in terms of a actual map, even though we're not getting a Rayman sequel for a long time, let's face it, just seeing his map is just so nostalgic and just gave me a big stupid grin. So I can't help it. It was nostalgic. So map variety, done well. Another one that is pretty easy enough, the gun customization, even though it wasn't the best, it was good. I just felt like the more I actually got better at the game, the better my guns got better. Or let me put it this way. The more I got better, the better my guns got. And it feels like a great attention to detail of when I was able to customize. It has to Ubisoft kind of hey, You want to pick your gun? You can do that. You want to make your gun faster? You can do that. But it did seem it was definitely copy and paste Call of Duty in terms of gun customization. Call of Duty does it much better, obviously, but Ubisoft had their own flair that it didn't feel egregious. It actually felt like I was grinding for something better. So if I wanted to make my shotgun just have more power and more accuracy, I could do that. If I wanted my assault rifle to be just a freaking OP, I could do that. It just felt like my guns all felt distinctive, and I was just getting some kills instantly. I wasn't just a weak link when I first started. I actually felt like I was pretty much like, fear me, dickhead. Yeah, it just felt like it. It felt cool. Whenever I was customizing my gun, it just had that Ubisoft flair, but not in a bad way. So, yeah, I'll give a compliment on that. And the last positive that I was actually, it was a double-edged sword, and I was gonna focus on the negative on the faction abilities, but it was unique enough. I guess my only negative on the faction abilities is the cooldown takes so long, but everything is so frantic, you're getting killed nonstop, or you're getting kills nonstop, you don't mind it, and you kind of ignore it. So I'll count it as a positive. The faction abilities are unique when used in right situation and scenario. So when you are boned or you are screwed around it, the faction abilities is kind of like a make it or break it moment. I'll show you why. Here are the clips. Exactly. Using the faction abilities in very specific team-based scenarios, or you're going to be using that abilities, is freaking amazing. I would account the ultimate attacks as a positive, but I didn't use it enough, so I can't really objectively give it a bias, but I guess it really doesn't give a shit anymore, because the game is gone. But yeah, the faction abilities, whenever you find that kind of character that is really cool, then it's just so satisfying to use the faction abilities in the best way possible for your team. My favorite one, of course, is Blood Dragon when it was around, because of the freaking Shuriken. The Shuriken kicked ass, and I love using it every freaking time. I'm just saying, it was pretty dope. But yeah, that is literally my positive in terms of that. So, yeah. Despite the negative, and even though, let's face it, it's a Call of Duty clone, but with Ubisoft label on it, I had a good time. For the time, there was potential. In terms of, like, what could have saved the game to actually, what it saved, I think it sure still did the Call of Duty gameplay, but they should have added some tweaks. They should have added some jetpacks, something else that made it so different from its competitors, because it was doomed to fail. It was dead on arrival. It was so ingrained, and it was trying to replicate Call of Duty so much, it just didn't have its own identity. The faction abilities was unique enough, they just didn't expand it. They didn't bring other franchises like Rayman and other things that they did. They didn't do any single-player campaigns. I think that would have been really cool. Weekly campaigns, like I was saying in some of my videos, would have been cool to flesh out specific guest characters. I think they should have brought guest characters. There was so much potential, but they were so focused on battle passes, making money, and making a quick buck, it was doomed to fail. There was no way it was going to survive. It was no way XDefiant was going to survive. And that's all I'm going to say. That is literally all my positive and negatives. It doesn't really matter. Who gives a shit? XDefiant's gone, so I guess we move on with their lives. But of course, you can leave that like, comment, or subscribe. I know what the next game I'm going to cover, so let's move on to the next clip. Alright.
Capture zone changing location.